Om Shanti, good morning. So, welcome to the English Avyak Murli Reading Club. And we were revising the Murli of 1st November 81. And as we know, what Baba says that how will you be a constant embodiment of awareness while doing service, and that will give you success. How he mentioned yesterday that be away from these two words, the I and mine, which put you into arrogance, and also you feel insulted because of that. Abhiman and Apman. And also he went on to say that how you can become Khudai Khidmatgar, which is not only God's helpers, but also knowing that we are God's servers and having this consciousness that it's the combined and the companion form with me. So success is my birthright in every task what I do. So I'll share the screen and now we'll see what Baba has to say to the parties. I hope I'm clear and audible. Please let me know if I'm not. Okay, so Babdada meeting the married brothers. So all the Baba also calls them other Kumars. So do all of you consider yourselves to be elevated souls who are loving and cooperative with the Father. Snehi Sahiyogi. Do you constantly have the intoxication that you are the most elevated of all the souls because you're playing a part with the Father? And it is only at this time of the whole cycle that you become instruments to play a part with the Father. So you have become instruments to play the highest part of all. And because you play a part with God, who is the highest on high, you have become such elevated souls. So most elevated means Ati Sresht. That's because our part is Sarva Sresht. And that's because God is Sarva Sresht, highest on high. You need to remember that. In the world outside, to those who work with someone with a high status have so much intoxication. The private secretary of the PM, the Prime Minister, also has so much of intoxication. Therefore, who are you with? You are with the highest on high Father. And even then, the speciality of this is that you're not just playing this part for just one cycle, but you have played this part for cycle after cycle. And that you'll always continue to play this part. That's another thing to be underlined. You have been doing this repetitively, every kalpa, every cycle. And we don't know how many times we have done. It's innumerable times. And this cannot be changed. If you maintain this intoxication, you will constantly remain free from obstacles. Obstacles don't come to you, do they? They aren't, there aren't any obstacles of the environment, the vibrations, or the company, are they? So are you like a lotus flower? Because a lotus flower is loving and detached, pyara or nyara. You can calculate how loving you are to the Father by seeing how detached you are. If you're only detached a little and the rest is trapped somewhere, then you will also only be loving to that extent. So, the sign of being constantly loving to the Father is that His remembrance is natural. Anything you love is automatically and constantly remembered. And so, He's someone you love for every cycle after cycle. You don't belong to the Father only for this one cycle, but you belong for every cycle. And so, how can you forget someone you love so much? Since we are forgetting, not having constant remembrance, that means there's something else also which we are trapped in, which we are remembering. It is only when you remember or consider someone or something else to be even lovelier than the Father that you forget him. So if you constantly consider the Father to be the most lovely of all, you wouldn't forget him. You wouldn't have to think about how to remember him, but you would instead be amazed at how you can't forget him. बाबा की याद भूले नहीं और भूलती कैसे है in one way. That should be a wonder. Therefore, although you are called other Kumars, that's half Kumars, you are really Brahma Kumars. You are the victorious Brahma Kumars, aren't you? Half Kumars are experienced Kumars. You have experienced everything, and an experienced person would never be deceived. You were experienced in the past, and you're experienced now. And each one of you half Kumars can benefit many others through your own experience. Because you're a group of world benefactors. Vishwa Kalyankari. Acha, so that was addressing the other Kumar, speaking to the mothers, the Matajis. So, do you consider yourself to see that whilst living at home with your family, you remain aware that you belong to the one Father and none other? In order for you not to be influenced by the atmosphere and to remain constantly loving to the Father whilst living at home, you must do this checking. Household just for the sake of it, but you still have to remain in the remembrance of the Father. No matter how much you have to play the part of serving your family, you have to play it as a trustee. And by being a trustee, you will become the conqueror of attachment. By having this constant remembrance, you will become a conqueror of attachment. See, when you are a householder, there will be attachment. When you have the
so that.
I think Pichit Bhai, you have to mute yourself.
Yeah, there was some noise on your side. Okay, so just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, there's a noise of what?
Some background noise is coming.
Oh, is
now
it?
it is not that yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
disturbance is there somewhere.
Okay. Is it there now?
Yes,
It's not there now.
It is there
it,
now.
it's there.
And now it's not there. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just playing around with the wire of the mic. Anyway. Okay, so I'll stop doing that. Okay. So yeah, so where we are here. So by being a trustee, you will become the conqueror of attachment. When you have the feeling of being a householder, there'll be attachment. But if the father is not remembered, it means that there is attachment. When you have the remembrance of the father, then because you receive power from that remembrance, every task for the family becomes easy. So you do remain under the canopy of protection of the father's remembrance, don't you? So in one way or the other, Baba's catching both the Matas and the other Kumars and asking them that Buddhi ki line kahan atki hui hai? I mean, where is your intellect? Is it towards your householder things? He's saying it to the Matas in the form of a householder thing, and to the brothers, he said about whether you constantly remember him or not, and also about being loving and cooperative. So it's the same thing, but in different manners he's addressing. So now when you have the remembrance of the Father, then because you receive a power from that remembrance, every task for the family becomes easy. You do remain under the canopy of the protection of the Father's remembrance, don't you? Those who remain under this canopy also remain detached from every obstacle. And both he's saying that you should be loving and detached. Many times this tussle happens, and many Brahmins ask this question: what should we do first? Should we be Nyara or Pyara first? Which means, should we be detached first or should we be loving first? So you all can churn on this, each can have their own answer. Obviously, both need to be done at the same time. But according to Baba here, when he addressed the other Kumars, he said, you need to be loving and then become detached. Because if you have love for the Father, you can easily become detached from everything else. Vice versa also is true. It's just they are both overlapping. So now those who remain under this canopy also remain detached from every obstacle. And again he's saying about being free from obstacles to both. Babdada loves you mothers very much because you have tolerated a great deal. Therefore Baba gives such children the fruit of their tolerance in the form of love and cooperation. So wonderful. Baba says, you be Snehi Sayogi towards me. In return, I will give you the fruit of you have been tolerated so much. You have tolerated so much in the path of devotion and also in your household. That I will give you the fruit, return back of love and cooperation. So constantly remember your fortune of being one who is wed. You have found such an elevated suhag, that is partner in this life. And because you have your partner, you definitely have this future. Sorry, have this fortune. Therefore, may you constantly remain in the fortune of this married state, Suhagan, right? Then coming to the other zones, speaking to those from UP and Gujarat, where Bapdada is relating their specialties. Each one has its own specialty. UP is no less, and Gujarat is no less either. After those from Delhi emerged, those from UP as well emerged. Those who are the instruments for establishment in the beginning have a special part to play in the drama. Even so, those from the beginning have received a double lottery, haven't you? So, the people who are instruments for establishment, those souls, advanced party souls from Delhi. So, there are many. It's Didi Manmohini, who was the prime one, who was sent towards the North India, Delhi, Lucknow, Kanpur, that side. And also there were two other souls, Har Gange Dadi. Baba used to call them Har Gange. It was Gange Dadi and Manohar Indra Dadi. Both combined names were Har Gange. Har is Manohar Indra and Gange is Gange Dadi. So these two were also sent. And we know what days they have seen. Absolutely no facilities at all. Forget facilities, not even a center over there. And how along the banks of Jamuna they did the service. The banks of Jamuna. Yamuna Baba is addressing that further in the Murli as well. So you have received the double lottery of the corporeal and the incorporeal. Is this a small part? There is your memorial of constantly being together in the divine activities for every cycle. If I want to underline one point in today's Murli, it's every kalpa. Everywhere Baba is mentioning that. So this too is your special fortune. And even now, Babdada is playing all the parts through the Avyakt form. The Sakar part was different. Those who were there in the Sakar days have their own specialty. And you have your own specialty. You're the ones who draw the love of the Sakar form through the Avyakt form. Many of you now have many more experiences than those who lived with Baba in the Sakar days, because now Brahma Baba has become Avyakt, so he is beyond the bondage of this body. As he said in 1969 in the Avyakt first Murli, that I'm still here. I have only changed my dress and address. So now that he's become more unlimited beyond the bondage of the body, so many more children who are born through the Avyakt have much more experiences than the Sakar. And now the Baba Milan, which was there till 2017 from 1969, we call that Avyakt Baba Milan. And now it is all revised, which is Avyakt may be Avyakt. We are celebrating the Avyakt Bab Dada Milan by being ourselves in the awake state. So this is much more powerful. And therefore, I sometimes wonder, I had asked a few souls who came into knowledge during the COVID times, absolutely after Dadi Gulzar uh, left the body after that. And actually, Babdada's part stopped in 2017 December. You all know that. So anyway, coming back to Avyakt and Avyakt, so I used to ask these souls that you haven't seen Sakar Baba, obviously we haven't seen all of us here. You haven't experienced the Avyakt Babdada Milan. So how is it that you can experience being Avyakt and experience the Avyakt Milan? So they said, what is this question? This question has no meaning. And then I realized, yes, I'm at fault when I'm asking this question. This question doesn't have a meaning in the sense that we can experience Avyakt Babdada Milan anytime by just being in the Avyakt form. So these souls are much more advanced that way. They are fast. They say Baba is with us all the time. So this question has no meaning, and they are perfectly right. So here it is that we have much more experiences than those who lived with Baba in the Sakar days. Therefore, each of you is going ahead of one another. Acha. Today, those from UP have the chance to meet Bapdada. More of UP is on the banks of the river Jamna. The kingdom and the ras, that is the circular dance, is shown on the banks of river Jamna. However, the purifier of UP is very well known. So Patit Pavan, who it is, it's very well known. That is, UP has been shown as a place of service. As I told you, these two places, Lucknow, Kanpur, all these were the ones where the basis of service started in North India after Delhi. And Mama also visited these places. So someone from UP will definitely emerge to become an instrument to serve many. Someone like this will be prepared. Just as someone emerged in America and is serving many, so too someone will emerge in UP to serve many. So this Murli is of 1981, late 81s in November. By that time, Didi Manmohini, Didi Mohini, I'm sorry, Mohini Didi, our present regional head of the Americas, North, South, Latin, and Caribbean. She had become instrumental because, as all of you know, 1974 onwards, Dadi Janki was sent to London, UK, and then in the next few years, by I think 76, 77, it was Mohini Didi also, who was from Delhi. And she was initially sent to London, UK, then Guyana, that is Caribbean, and then finally New York. So by 1981, America's service had started. So Baba is therefore mentioning that someone has emerged in USA, so too someone will emerge in UP. The sound will spread, won't it? When the sound spreads from abroad, everyone will awaken. A big VIP has not yet emerged. Out of all the VIPs who have emerged up to now, the one VIP from abroad would be said to be the most well-known VIP. Baba's not taking names, but he's just saying. He's been an instrument in a practical way to give the message to many. So if you all know that Dadi Janki's first students, foreign students, what we call them, white body students, were three: Sister Denise, Brother Ken, and Brother Charlie. And they spread out to all different continents. Brother Ken towards South America, Brother Charlie towards the Australasias, and Sister Denise, that time with Sister Chandru, later they went towards the US and Canada. So Baba is really in one way trying to remember them as well, that they will become an instrument in a practical way to give the message to many. Bharat too can make progress, but this is a matter of the present time. Ultimate victory has to take place in Bharat. The cries of victory that emerge from abroad will reach Bharat in any case. The sound that emerges from them will also be our Bharat. Baba has come into Bharat. So even all these souls from abroad, the double foreigners, they have so much of remembrance and fond love and remembrance for Bharat. So you won't say that the Father has come to the UN, United Nations. At this time, the foreign lands are ahead in the race. So Baba is also trying to motivate and inspire the double foreigners that you are no less in the race. But Bharat is Bharat because Baba comes in Bharat. He never comes to United Nations. Okay. So this is the present situation, and tomorrow it may well be someone else. Seeing one another, you will make even more progress. Now bring a VIP from UP. You purifiers have to purify someone and cast a magical spell on them. So this he spoke about UP in particular. Now Gujarat is no less as well. Gujarat is number one in terms of expansion. As you know, Baba says that Ahmedabad, the capital, and the entire Gujarat is so close to Madhuban. They are just next door neighbors of Madhuban. And Baba used to say that I just give them one call and they are here ever hazir. They are just immediately present for service. The VIPs will also come onto the stage. They should be such VIPs who can serve in an unlimited way. When someone from Gujarat serves those of Gujarat, they would they would be called a small mic. When someone serves everywhere, they would be called a big mic. Acha. So Baba's asking a question. And then we'll read the blessing and slogan as well. It's a bonus for us. So question is, what are the signs of those who become master knowledgeful at the confluence age? So the signs are those who are master knowledgeful will constantly be able to be victorious over Maya. Sada Vijay. Because they know why Maya comes and in what form she comes. The main reason why Maya comes is your own weakness. Because weakness gives birth to Maya. When there is weakness in your thoughts or sanskars, Maya takes birth. So this is why you knowledgeable children know the reason and are able to find a permanent solution in advance. You have to be knowledgeable about everything at the confluence age. You must be knowledgeable of your body, your mind, and your wealth. Tan, man, and dhan. Only those who are knowledgeable in this way can become powerful and attain victory over Maya and the world. Maya Jeet, Jagat Jeet. But for that, you need to be, Baba says, knowledgeful, and that gives power, powerful. And you know, in Lokik, we say knowledge is power. So, how it is a power, Baba has explained that how you then be aware, having knowledge of your Tan Man Dhan, then you'll become powerful. The blessing is related to success because the Murli is the secret of success in service. So Baba says, may you be an embodiment of success who uses your unlimited and broad intellect to increase the power of the gathering. Behad Buddhi and Vishal Buddhi to increase the power of gathering. To increase the power of the gathering is the first elevated task of Brahmin life. Therefore, whenever the majority agrees to do something, you have to be with that majority. This is what it means to increase the power of gathering. No matter how good your ideas may be, but if they split the gathering up, then those good ideas would be considered ordinary. Very important. Sangathan mein hai. Sangathan ki shakti, the power of the gathering is very important. So again here we need to apply the balance of Malik and Balak. So being a child and a master at the same time. So in a gathering, I have to respect, I can give my opinion as a master, but then I have to respect what is coming up in unison as a commonality. So, but then if I feel no, that my idea is the only good one, this is the way I split the gathering in one way, because I'm creating a rift over there by my thoughts itself. And then I get hurt. Oh, my idea is not being accepted, so on and so forth. So those good ideas would be considered ordinary if they split the gathering up. So even if you have to renounce your ideas at that time, there is still fortune in that renunciation. Wonderful. उस त्याग में भाग्य है. I have to give up, let go of my idea in a gathering. And then that is my fortune. Bhagya in tyag. And by doing that, you become an embodiment of success and have close relationships. So you become Safalta Swarup and Sambandh Sameep ho jayenge. We'll have close relationships. Slogan is practice staying in your angelic form, and then no type of obstacle will be able to influence you. Acha, Om Shanti. I'll just stop sharing the screen and we'll spend a moment in silence and then share. So you can start sharing.
Oh, sure. So when Baba addressed the other Kumas, so Baba said you are not half Kumas, you are experienced Kumar, Brahma Kumar. So that is a good point. And Baba also said, to be detached and loving, just like the lotus flower. And Baba said, these other Kumars, right, or the experienced Kumars have a special part to play in this drama. So we have to be so intoxicated about it because we are playing this part with the highest on high, Baba. So Baba gave that example where, the private secretary of Prime Minister will have so much intoxication that he is a PA of PM. So similarly, here the experienced Kumars is, they are in the company of the highest on high. So they can maintain that intoxication throughout. That's going to help them. And Baba also said it's going to repeat in every kalpa, just this kalpa, but it's going to be in every kalpa. Yeah, Om Shanti, thank you.
Baba has made a point in the Murli when he speaks about Nyara and Pyara. Now, what follows what? In my experience, it is at the moment that we are in that defines whether it's going to be Nyara or Pyara. But uh, the the first path I feel is being loving and then being detached is a practice to be made. But in my experience, I don't know how to be detached and then love. Like, but whether the first step is being detached and then love, um, I have no clue on that. I would actually want Manoj Bhai from your end to give any introspection or any reflection on this point of being Nyara and Pyara. That had been
Oh,
your experience.
okay, very interesting. Yeah, as Baba said today, that if you're loving towards me, then you can become detached from others. That's what also you said. Okay, now let us look at vice versa. Let's try to contemplate on a few situations where first I need to be detached to be loving. Now, here I can give you a few examples even from my personal life. Like, yeah, okay, so my sister, I mean, this is a completely Lokik example. She's not into BKs at all, but she's a dentist. And I remember this example very well that I'll just cut the story short. So, my nephew, so that is her son. So he was sitting in the kitchen. He was a 1.5 year old, 2 year old kid, and he was not doing anything. And my mother was also in the kitchen, and for some reason, we don't know what happened. The window glass, the window pane fell on top of him, and it just stripped off his nose, like the Surupnaka thing, like that. So, and he was a tiny kid. So suddenly there was a big blast which my mother heard, and then she just looked behind, and this child was all in blood, and he was just holding his nose because he was bleeding from there. It was not fully cut, but there was a big the window pane, the glass shield had fell on his nose, and it had cut the nose almost, say, half centimeter, 1 centimeter. So it was bleeding from there. So then she immediately called my sister, who rushed from the dental clinic and came home. And then I saw that she was so stable, my sister. I don't know how she was so stable, whether it is because being a medical professional, dental professional, she didn't panic, she didn't go up and down. And she was totally, I felt, I mean, I wasn't a BK that time. I was just doing my residency. I was doing my MD pediatrics that time. But I was in the hospital on duty 24/7. So she just called me there. And she was so stable that time when she called. But my mother, in retrospect, when we look at this situation, when we speak about that, so my mother was telling that my sister that time was so stable. And I feel that this stability comes from detachment first. So she was detached, and then after being detached, then she was loving the kid. She hugged the child, she applied the gauze and did all the other things to make the child stable. So this is one way of Lokik example. And the other way, if I can say in Alokik, is like Baba says that you first detach from everything, and that everything is a big list. Baba says detachment from this body consciousness. Once we have this detachment from being a body, from this concept, yesterday's all Murli, Sakar Murli was about Dehi Abhimani. So once I detach myself from this body consciousness, then I can automatically love the Videhi one, Baba. So Dehi Abhimani honge, Nyara honge, then we can remember the Videhi Baba very well. We can love him and only him. So I think these are just few examples which I felt detached comes first. But always you could argue that my sister was able to detach because she was loving to the child. But as I said, they are just the interplay with each other.
I get that, and I could actually connect
Yeah.
to one of my life incidences,
Hmm.
the lock phase. I think I'd spoken about this before also in one of your sessions. So my nephew was, he got a brain stroke And that point of time, my sister used to stay in Sharjah, and there was no medical help to look at immediately. But because of the stability of my brother-in-law, they could actually rush into the hospital to Dubai. They till date do not remember how they managed rushing him to Dubai, and how they could manage the whole scenario at that point of time, and got the child out of danger. Of course, it took months to get him out of what he was dealing with. But that one moment of awareness and stability allowed them to rush him to the hospital. And I faintly remember that my sister mentioned that the whole travel from Sharjah to Dubai, she only kept on talking to him, though he was not able to respond, so that the awareness of the child is there. But that all was possible because of the stability that both husband and wife had while they were managing this whole situation. And I could actually relate to what you mentioned right now about your sister and your nephew, though it sounds to be very locking, but that is possible only because of some inner stability that allowed them to do what they did. And only when you are unconditionally in the loving space is where detachment can show at the moment. Thank you for bringing that up, Manoj Bhai. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's good that the nephews are getting affected everywhere. It's a strong karmic thing. But yeah, so as we all saying that detachment, because many people can't relate to this value of detachment. I remember in the series also of values which we do, people feel this virtue as very heavy. How can we be detached? So I think if you're stable inside, and these people we are speaking about absolutely who don't know about Baba. I mean, we are not being prejudiced that they are not knowledgeable or Gyani souls here. I don't mean to say that, but they don't really know the exact introduction of Baba, right? Satya Parichay. But still, they are so stable, you can imagine. So, how stable should we be as being knowledgeable souls? We need to really give a self check to ourselves on that. So, stability leads to detachment. It's easy to become detached if you're stable. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, I think all of you are in a very detached state and very stable. So, should we go on to the meditation, or you have anyone else to share? Okay,
Yes,
if not,
Manoj.
yeah, we'll go to the meditation. Yeah. So, let's dive deep into this stability. And I can play some soft music. So, let's sit back and take a few deep breaths in and out. And as we focus on this conscient energy that I am, the beautiful, sparkling energy that each one of us is, we automatically get detached from the consciousness of the body. And we are experiencing this Dehi Abhimani stage. experience how you're feeling now. Feeling so light, calm, and stable. And the next step is getting connected to that divine being, the supreme being. Who is the ever almighty authority. And the moment I connect to that ocean of stability, my stability also increases. And as we move around today, Maya is waiting there to create obstacles. So let me be in this totally loving stage and detached from the body consciousness and see how I can become obstacle free. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Manoj Bhai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Till that time, have a nice day.